Hello everyone, this is Andrew at Crown Academy of English. Today we are going to look at adjectives ending in ing and ed. Yesterday I watched an interesting film about football. I am very interested in football. Jane didn't like the film. She was bored. Jane thinks that football is boring. So, the word interesting and interested are both adjectives. Okay? Remember, adjectives describe nouns. Nouns are things or people or even animals. Okay, so adjectives describe nouns. But interesting and interested have different meanings. Okay, so they look similar, the spelling is very similar, but the meaning is very different. And it is the same with boring and bored. They are also adjectives. And the meaning of boring and bored is also different. So they have different meanings. And this lesson we will concentrate on ing and ed adjectives which are related to feelings. Okay? That are related to feelings. So we will look at the origin of both types of adjective and how they are formed. We will also look at the meaning and use of ing adjectives and also the meaning and use of ed adjectives. And I will give you examples of the most common ing and ed adjectives. And as always, there are some exercises at the end of the video. So I advise you to watch the whole video, the whole lesson, and then try the exercises at the end. So let's look at the origin. Well, first of all, just to tell you that we are only discussing adjectives related to feelings, because these are the adjectives that confuse students. And they confuse students because these adjectives of feelings, they have both an ing form and also an ed form. So students often do not know which form they should use. So, the origin. Well, ing and ed adjectives are formed from verbs. Okay? Example. The verb to interest. Example, football interests me. This is a verb. Football interests me. And so the origin of the ing adjective is, well, we form it by adding ing to the end of the verb. So interest, the verb, gives us the adjective interesting, ing. And this particular type of ing form is called the present participle. Okay, the present participle. But it is very important to understand that we are using it as an adjective. Okay, so this is now an adjective. We do not consider it here as a verb. Okay, we have transformed the verb into an adjective. Okay, so if you look in the dictionary for the word interesting, it will say that it is an adjective, not a verb. Okay, and so an example, I watched an interesting film. This is the adjective, interesting, and it is describing the noun film. And the ed adjective is also formed from the verb, but this time we add ed to the end of the verb. So interest becomes interested. Interested. And this particular ed form is called the past participle. The past participle. But again, we are using it as an adjective. So we are transforming a verb into an adjective, and we now consider it only as an adjective. Example, I am very interested in football. Interested, the adjective, is describing the subject, me. It's describing the person, I, or me. And notice the form of the expression. We say in English, interested in something. To be interested in football or in politics. Okay? So that is the origin. Both of them come from verbs. Now, let's look at the ing adjectives. And we're going to look at the meaning and use. So here is our example. I watched an interesting film about football. So remember, the origin of the adjective interesting is the verb interest. Now, the meaning of an ing adjective is that it describes the cause of the feeling. The cause of the feeling. We can also say an ing adjective describes the source of the feeling. Okay? Source of the feeling is the film. So what is the source of the interest? The interest. What is the source? Well, it is the film. Because we could also say, the film interests me. So it is the film that is the source of the feeling. Therefore, we use the ing adjective to describe it. An interesting film. Interesting film. Film is the source of the feeling of interest. Ing adjectives of feeling can describe people or animals. So, for example, I like Mark because he is interesting. So in this example, a person, Mark, he is the source of the feeling of interest. We like him because he is interesting. Here is an example with an animal. The cat doesn't like to play. It is very boring. So the cat is the source of the feeling. It is the cause of the feeling. ing adjectives of feeling can also describe things. Things, like objects. The film was boring. London is an exciting city. Okay? So the film is the source of the feeling. Film wasn't very good. It was boring. Okay? So that is ing adjectives. It is the source of the feeling. Now, ed adjectives are slightly different. The example is, I am very interested in football. Remember, again, the origin of the adjective interested is the verb interest. But the difference is that an ed adjective describes the person or animal who has the feeling. So we are describing the feeling, not the source of the feeling, but the feeling itself. So who is feeling the interest? It is me. It is I. Football interests me. So the ed adjective describes my feeling. This is the important thing. The ed adjective describes the feeling itself. I am very interested in football. Interested. Now, ed adjectives of feeling only describe people or animals, because we consider that animals can also have feelings, often physical feelings. Example, Mark is excited because he is going to London next week. Okay? Mark is excited. So that is how Mark feels. It is a feeling. He is excited. And the dog was very excited when it saw Mark. Okay? So the dog has a feeling. The dog is feeling excited. Okay? So we are concentrating on the feeling and the person, or sometimes the animal, who is experiencing the feeling. Now, this is very important, very, very important part of the lesson. ed adjectives of feeling do not describe things, because things do not have feelings or emotions. So the film was bored. This is wrong, because a film is a thing. A thing does not have feelings or emotions. So a film cannot feel bored. London is an excited city. This is wrong, because an ed adjective describes a feeling or an emotion. But London is a city. It cannot feel emotion. Okay? London can be a source of feeling. We could say London is an exciting city, ing, but excited, ed, is wrong. So this is very important. So a summary of the rules. If we are describing a thing, an object, not a person, then we use an ing adjective to describe the source of a feeling. interesting film, exciting city, boring book. But we do not use an ed adjective to describe a feeling for a thing. We never do this. So for a thing, it is quite easy because it is always an ing adjective. But when we describe a person or animal, then we have a choice. We have a choice. We use an ing adjective if the person or animal is the source of a feeling. An interesting man. She is boring. The dog is frightening. So for a person or animal, if it is the source of the feeling, then we use an ing adjective. Or we use an ed adjective if the person or animal is having the feeling, is experiencing the feeling. He is interested in politics. She is bored. The dog is frightened. Okay? So things are easy, but students have problems because for a person or animal there is a choice and we have to decide which is the correct one. Okay? So this is why students make mistakes, because they do not make the correct decision. Is it the source of the feeling, or is the person having the feeling? Okay? As you can see here, she is boring is possible. It is correct. It is grammatically correct. And she is bored is also possible. It is also grammatically correct. But the meaning is very different. So you have to make sure you understand the difference. So students make mistakes because both the ing and ed adjectives can be used for people or animals. Okay? Let me give you an example. The cat is frightening and the cat is frightened. So both sentences are correct, but the meaning is very different. So both sentences are possible. Okay? This is grammatically correct. This is fine. And so is this. But they mean very different things. So let us look at the meaning. Well, here is the cat, the frightening cat. And the cat is frightened. So you can see the meaning is very, very different. In fact, the meaning is almost opposite. So here, frightening, ing, the cat is the source of the feeling. Okay, the cat frightens us. Okay, but here, it is the cat who is experiencing the feeling. So the cat is afraid. The cat is scared. The cat is frightened. ed. Okay? So, the question that you need to ask yourself, is the person or animal the source of the feeling? If yes, then use an ing adjective. Is the person or animal having the feeling, experiencing the feeling? If yes, then use an ed adjective. Okay? I'm now going to give you a list of the common adjectives of feeling with an ing and ed form. So here they are. I will very quickly say them for you. So amusing, amused, annoying, annoyed, boring, bored, confusing, confused, disappointing, disappointed, depressing, depressed, exciting, excited, frustrating, frustrated, frightening, frightening, frightened, interesting, interested, shocking, shocked, surprising, surprised, tiring, tired, worrying, worried. Okay? And obviously in this video there is not enough time to explain all of these words, so use your dictionaries to look for the meaning of these words. Okay? But these are the most common ones, and they all have very different meanings from the ing form compared to the ed form. This is the feeling. This is the source of the feeling. Okay? Exercise. Complete the sentences with the correct adjective from inside the brackets. So question 1, and I will give you a few seconds. The answer is, the exam was hard. There were lots of confusing questions. Confusing questions. Question 2. The answer is, the concert has been cancelled. I am very disappointed. Disappointed. Question 3. The answer is, the concert has been cancelled. It is very disappointing. Okay, so question 2, we use the ed form because we are describing my feeling, the feeling of me. But here we are describing it, and it is the situation. Okay, the situation that the concert has been cancelled. So it, we are describing the source of the feeling. So we use the ing form. Question 4. The answer is, we watched a horror film yesterday. We were very frightened. Frightened. It's a feeling. ed. Question 5. The answer is, Mark's dog has died. It is a very depressing day. Question 6. The answer is Mark's dog has died. Mark is very depressed. So in question 5, we use the ing form because we are describing the day. So the day is very sad. So the day is the source of the feeling. So we use the ing form. But here we are describing Mark's feelings. How does Mark feel? Well, he feels very depressed. ED. The last question. The answer is I passed my exams. My parents were very surprised. Okay, so we are describing the feeling of some people, of my parents. So it's an ED form, surprised. Okay? So that's the end of the lesson. Here are some other lessons from my YouTube channel. So to start the lesson, simply click on the screen. Okay? My name is Andrew at Crown Academy of English. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye-bye.